Well, and of course, it's a pleasure to be able to talk about my new book, which will be out in August. And if you haven't gotten one of these flyers, I assure you I have plenty. I'd be happy to give them to you because you can get the book now at a great discount. Now, what is this book about? It's about Washington women journalists. How did I start writing the book? Years ago. I started it when I did my dissertation. I thought, oh, I'll do a dissertation on Washington women journalists. Won't that be fun? Yeah, well, you know how far I got from my dissertation? I got from 1830 to 1900. And all the intervening years, I have been sort of gathering material together. And then I finally sat down and thought, I have got to finish this or it will never get done. So this is what I have come up with. Now, what sorts of things can I tell you to interest you in this book? Well, it's not a book that says, ah, we poor women, how we have been victimized. It isn't, because the more you look at the careers of these Washington women journalists, you see they didn't respond to victimization by crying about it particularly. They all responded in different ways, and that's what makes the book interesting to me, and I hope to you. And also, I hope it makes a modest contribution to communications and to the understanding of the cultural impact of the news industry. Now, there are many things I can tell you about the book that I trust you will find interesting, such things as Connie Chung dealing with the nasty hazing that some of the males on her camera crew was giving her by unzipping their flies, rather casually. At the same time, she's calling in a story. I think what I'm supposed to tell you is what are the things about the book that the critics will not like. I don't think they'll like the fact that it doesn't have much theory, except you can say that it does talk about power relationships and power relationships in the United States Capitol. Thank you.
What this book is really a product of this conference, actually, that for several years I got interested in the idea of what would be core knowledge in journalism. What should all journalism students or journalists read to be able to call themselves educated in journalism, to know something in the same way that if you're going to be educated in literature, you had better read a little bit of Shakespeare, a little bit of Mark Twain, that kind of thing. We had a panel here, actually a closing panel like this, on that topic several years ago. Did some other panels, and then did a big survey of both American and United Kingdom journalism educators. And this book is the product of that effort. This taking all the suggestions of what journalism students and journalists, or just people who want to call themselves educated about journalism, what should they have read? And then we took excerpts from all of those suggestions. We compiled them into 6 thematic units, sort of history and development of journalism, classic reporting, biography, journalism criticism, and doing journalism, how people go about doing the work. We, in all honesty, supplemented that because the results of that survey really were 2 male, 2 white, 2 1970s, you know, and so we tried to supplement and get something from like 1968 and something 1982. That we tried to broaden it a little bit, and then we added some headnotes, some contextualization about where each piece came from, and that's what the book basically is, geared towards journalism students at all levels, from intro to grad students who want a sort of overview of what their complex reading list really should be like.
What do I like about it? What do we like about it? Well, in essence, 2 things. Firstly, I think there's 3 things. Firstly, it's democratic. It's our book. I was at that session where we voted for our top choices a few years ago. They're in the book, by and large. And so it belongs to all of us here who come to this conference and contribute. And I think that's very important. Secondly, we like it because it's motivational. It reminds you, and it reminds students, hopefully, of what journalism should be. Journalism at its best, why it's important, what you should do, and what the consequences are when you don't. But it's not a how-to book, right? We didn't have any how-to book excerpts there, so it's not that. So it's democratic, it's motivational, and the other thing is it's all-encompassing, all-embracing. You just need one book to be this one, and it's got everything that students might want to know about the whole field of journalism, journalism studies, journalism in society, our heritage, where we're coming from, who the stars were and are, and where we're going. It restores our belief in what we're doing. It will restore in you, I guarantee, and this is not a sales pitch, it comes from the heart, it will restore in you your faith in what you're doing and how the great names do it in the past.
I'm Matt Ehrlich, and the name of my book is Radio Utopia, post-war audio documentary in the public interest, published by University of Illinois Press this year. This is about a brief heyday of audio documentary on ABC, NBC, and CBS between 1945 and 1951. Time of very interesting change, post-war America. It's the time when radio is the #1 broadcast medium, very powerful, and within 6 years is supplanted by network television. It's a time of considerable technological change within broadcasting. There was a network recording ban on CBS and NBC as of 1945 that gave way in just 2 or 3 years. Also, the rise of portable recording technology. And with that change in technology, there was a change in political climate. Cold War sets in, fears of communism set in. Russia, which had been a steadfast ally of the United States and Britain during the war, of course, is perceived as the enemy. There's a communist takeover in China. The Soviets developed the atomic bomb, and war breaks out in Korea. Ignorance and everything that humanity could do that was evil and left the world a shattered place, and still came out of that experience with this almost stubborn optimism that there are dreams that bind us together and the world can be made a better place through human agency.
My name is Jean Parmigiano, and the title of my book is Perceptions of the Press in 19th Century British Periodicals, Bibliography. Well, that's not altogether true, but that's what my publisher liked. What I set out to do was to look at, I thought, what journalists, people who were writing in magazines, some newspaper people, some editors, some publishers, thought about what they were doing. What was the press? And I looked at a variety of quite elite magazines, quite cheap magazines, various religions, various political groups, 48 of them in all, birth to death. So if they ran the whole century, I looked at every one of them. And what I found out was that they said a lot about other presses because they measured their press, the British press, by what others were doing. 10 reasons why you shouldn't buy this book, and only 2 why you should. So, that's right. You have no interest in the press in the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Russia, Egypt, India, or Australia. You have no interest in the 19th century press. You have no interest in the concept of press as fourth estate. You have no interest in ideas about the education of journalists or the evolution of their specialties. You have no interest in the intersection of government politics and the press. You have no interest in the press as a business. You have no interest in how imperialism has influenced the press. You have no interest in the origins of the tension between a free society and a society at war. You have no interest in cross-cultural or transnational trends in the press, and you have no students who have any of these interests. 2 reasons why you should buy this book.